wrap up. So what we'll ask is the moderators from each of the room to give 5 minutes, just feedback what was discussed in your rooms, and then we can go into a short poll where we can have the opportunity, as all of us here together, to see if we can look to start to create collaborations amongst each other, and then we'll ask Durk to wrap up for us today. So with that, I would like to ask to give a bit of a summary of what was discussed in your group.
So I will start, David, or?
Yes, please. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, we always the room is this. Just we are still talking, and we found ourselves in the other room. So it's like sudden cut. So yeah, okay, but we still have some good points. In general, people at both rooms, they agreed about the social part, that we have to take care of how we deliver our ideas to the people, and how much it's important to sustain what we are doing. It's to deliver it in a right way to the people living there, because we are dealing with different type or levels of education and different type of people. So this is very challenging, yes, but it's also a priority for us. So we have to take care about this point. What happened when we are talking about very technical questions, actually people they don't have real answers, but some of the members mentioned that they can deliver our question and ideas to some of their partners, so maybe they can help up with some of very technical solutions. You, David, just suggested an idea to have like a comparable system. So we can build another system at another place with different people. So maybe with a young generation, and we'll see at that time the difference about how the efficiency of the new system comparing to this one. So we can really relate the behavior, or maybe the education level, or the family life standard to the quality of water produced. Some good ideas come from on the chat from the group number 2, that like maybe we need to think about using in the summertime or something dry toilets, so we can save water, or we don't have a high load on the system by using composting and dry toilets. And also and a very nice idea that I got it from Anna from the second room is we need to work on the social level with the students in schools. So if you are talking to the students in the schools, they can deliver our message to their houses, to their parents. So maybe it would be easy to deliver what our messages to people. And some others mention like media should help, and maybe it's not that easy to let the media working on that, but workshop and continuous discussions, I think it will be a good solution. But to wrap up this, I think they want us to focus more on the social part, because if we have a good relation with people, and then our system we can enhance and we can get better solution, not if luxurious or highly cost things, but in a cheap one, but good delivery to people is very important. And that this is my point.
Thank you so much, Rania. I think some real helpful insights there. So potential some work for you coming up over the next couple of months.
I think so. Yeah.
Thank you. Ulla and Pierre, would you like to give us a 5-minute run through of the group's inputs?
Yes, sure. I would like to do that. So in the first session, we were learning about how diverse we are, this group gathered together, and a lot of good organizations who can learn from each other. So it was a lot of presentation to get people to know each other, but not so much about Water Living Lab. But still good inputs. And in the next section, I noted some points. It's very important to show all the best practices and to be open and share those learnings, not only internally in your own country, but abroad. And we learned about a lot of different organizations where we could go to and share the learnings and best practices. It's also good to have a good overview about how mature are different solutions, so you don't start from the beginning in solutions where that has already been developed in other places. Of course, that's obvious, but it can be hard to have that overview. And then there was a lot of talk on demonstration, and demonstration is key to also get financing for both more innovations within the Water Living Lab, but also to make a sustainable living lab, which should have funding both to the processes, but also investments internally to have a sustainable water living lab over more than 10 years. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Pia. Also, I think some real good insights that you've gained from the participants. So that was incredibly helpful. So the last part of this session before we have a closing from Durk is just to run through very quickly a poll, and this will allow all of you to have an idea on how potentially you can get involved in water-orientated living labs. As you may have heard between yesterday and today, the International Dialogues event is going to be annual, and it's going to be one of the flagship events from Water Europe. And the concept of this event is water-orientated living labs, but it's a concept that we will keep working with. And so next year, we will have a look on how what we've created here today, what we've discussed here today, is then advanced upon perhaps even some failures or what has happened over the year, but it'll give us an opportunity to report back a year later as exactly what has happened with that regard. So in that sense, I will share my screen and I'll let you all run through a Slido poll, should we say. This is it's very easy and straightforward. You can take your mobile phone, and if you've not used Slido before, just use the camera. You can have the click on the QR code, and it'll open up the questionnaire for you. Alternatively, you can go to slido.com and then enter in this number here, and it'll open up the poll for you, so that will allow you to run through the questions. I'll make the poll live now, so you should see that first question coming up there. This first question basically is just getting us used to the system, how it works. So you can add the country you are connecting from today. So this first question basically just gives people an opportunity to connect to the system, see how it works, get their phone or their computer onto that system. So we can see people slowly but surely putting in their answers here. Okay, we can see that the majority have actually connected from Belgium and Spain today, where we have also some representation from Greece, but then also really nice to see a bit of a range across Europe. Perhaps in future events, it would be nice to connect outside of Europe. So maybe in the middle we could have Mexico or Senegal being one of the main places that people are connecting from. I think that would be a nice aspect going forward. Okay, we'll go on to the next question now, as people have started to get used to the system. And in here, it gives us a better idea of who we were in the room today. So which sector would best represent you? Okay, so we can see here that obviously the majority have come from the academic sector, with a lot from the private sector as well, almost 50-50, but a very small representation from the public sector and civil society. So again, something to work on for the next events going forward. We can really start to try and get a bigger mix of actors involved in this event. On to the next question, and now we start to get into the real reason for this poll. Do you currently participate in a living lab? Is this something that you are doing? So you saw the two examples today. Is that something similar that you're doing? Okay, so we can see here that it's pretty much half and half. That we have some that are participating and others that aren't at the moment. The next question follows on from that, and basically says, if you would like to get involved in a living lab approach, what value could you provide to that? Do you have a demonstration site, for example? Do you have some innovative technology? Are you specialized in stakeholder engagement or in partnerships? Do you have a different or innovative idea in terms of governance? Perhaps you can provide financing or funding towards these ideas. So those that aren't involved in living labs, where do you think you could get involved, and what value would you bring? So we have about 20 participants that are taking part in these polls. So I think we have most of the answers here at the moment, and we can see that there's a lot involved in the idea of providing a demonstration site that I've seen come up here a few times, which I think is one of the real basic points of a living lab, having an area where, in fact, innovation can take place. There's a lot of different value that can be provided in terms of the partnerships, stakeholder engagements, different types of communication activities, co-creation facilities, or at least the facilitation of that. Guidance, I guess, would be much the same as the idea of or training, or at least communication in terms of how this can take place. And then we can see some real more concrete ideas of the concepts around energy reduction or autonomous installations and different types of wastewater treatment plant solutions. Again, here with the idea of having a look on how bringing together all of these different actors can be brought into that. And of course, the idea of partnerships in any type of living lab is vitally important. So just so you know that all of these results will be collated, so we will bring them together so that your answers here can be mixed in with the others, and we can start to see how to collaborate together in creating a living lab. So we go on to the final question, and really it's really one for you just to take note of this email address, really. If you would like to be part of or to create an international water-orientated living lab, you can share your contact details and that added value with this email address, which is wol@watereurope.eu. So you can write to that email address from Water Europe with your contact details and the added value that you would like to bring into the International Water-Orientated Living Lab. Water Europe will collate that information, and then following this event, we'll be able to send out to those that are looking to create living labs in order to facilitate a little bit that idea of bringing you all together so that can actually happen. So I'll give you 1 or 2 minutes just to take note of that email address. Okay, perfect. Then we'll go back into the main room, and then from my side is just to say thank you so much for joining us these days. Thank you to Water Europe for bringing this all together, and also to all of the speakers. I especially want to thank Rania, Ulla, and Pia. I think your insights today have been fantastic, and has really helped us to get a better understanding of what a water-orientated living lab really is. And of course, Andrea, for introducing us to this subject from Water Europe's side. So with that, thank you very much from my side, and over to you, Dirk.
Okay, thank you very much, David. Well, first of all, I really want to thank you very much for your excellent moderation of these 2 days. I think you've really done an excellent job there. Very good. So then I'm very happy with the proceedings of these 2 last days. To be honest, we've been discussing creating the idea of setting up a Water Europe International Water Dialogue Days already for quite some time, and I'm very glad to see that we've taken the right angle. At least I was very much impressed with the discussions that we've had over the last 2 days. I think very, very appropriate. Just to repeat a little bit, I think for us, the International Water Dialogue Days are really a new annual event for us that aims on one hand to promote international collaboration on water and to advocate for the role that the European water sector actors can play in the achievement of the 2030 agenda. And also very importantly, I think, to set up practical exchanges between European and non-European collaborative initiatives through the water-oriented living labs approach, which has been developed by Water Europe really as a vehicle to implement and achieve our ideal of a water smart society. And I think this is also very much in line with SDG 17 on multi-stakeholder partnerships. So the key words here are really collaboration and networking. Collaboration along the water value chain, involving all relevant stakeholders in, I would say, the quadruple helix, really to get all these difficult water challenges, which often do not depend on one actor, but really can only be addressed by, I would say, getting the private sector, the public sector, governance, and civil society really to collaborate in a long-term and sustainable way. The other thing is about networking. Networking across local, regional, and national borders to exchange on best practices and solutions and to learn from each other. Yeah, I think looking back over the last 2 days, I think we can see that we have made a great start and raised the potential of water-oriented living labs, and now it is up to us to make it happen. For us on the side of Water Europe, over the next few days, over the next few months, we will continue to roll out the water-oriented living labs concept, in particularly with the support of the EU Water for All partnership. And the first next step will be our new publication in a WALS notebook series on how to map, assess, and evolve water-oriented living labs. So back to today, I really want to thank all the speakers and the participants, and of course, particularly also the Water Europe team who made this event possible. And more in particular, I would like to thank the leadership team of the working group, Water Beyond Europe, consisting in David, but also Gaetano Casale, who unfortunately could not be with us these 2 days because he had one, I would say, bigger priority, and I think that's a priority we can all share, namely a holiday with his family. I think very well deserved. Yeah. And also, I would really like to thank here Anka Popa, our Water Europe Events and Communication Manager, for really taking care of all the logistics to make this happen. Yeah. So with these thanking notes, I would like to close the event and promise you that we will be back here around the same time next year to come back to you and report on the progress that we are making. And I really hope that in between, we will have the opportunity to really collaborate a lot, have a lot of exchanges, so that next year we can really report on tremendous progress in terms of setting up these collaborations and jointly addressing throughout the water value chain the key water challenges, which basically can simply be summarized often with saying too little water, too much water, and too polluted water. Yeah. So thank you all, and looking forward to come across you in the course of the year. Bye bye.
Thank you and bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.